I want to welcome to the show comedian extraordinaire, the host of Get Your News On with Ron.
Placone.
It's Ron Placone, ladies and gentlemen. Hi, Ron.
Hey, Jimmy. How's it going? Good to see you. Happy holidays.
Good to see you, too. I always enjoy your low lighting. I'm always enjoying that. You can always get more light on Ron. I like to see Ron's eyes. They talked about hashtag forced to vote. Now, it was written by a guy, this guy. So David Klingon. And he says
from the planet of the same name.
Yes. He says for the last 5 years, Bernie saw two credible runs for president, and the parallel closely tied the rise of the left media ecosystem. AOC is ideally positioned to be Bernie's heir, the leader of the left electoral project. But parts of the left media ecosystem are now rejecting that project. How dare they? So you want to know who this guy is? I just want to show you who this guy is. He wrote an article. It says, why don't Sanders supporters care about the Russia investigation? So how he got printed in the New York Times, this guy's like this, how they get printed, is he posed as a Bernie supporter and a super right-winger too. So now I'm going to criticize the Bernie movement as a Bernie supporter, so then everybody would print him. Do you see that? So he wrote this article called, Why Don't Sanders Supporters Care About the Russia Investigation? Because he was a big Russiagator. That's who this guy is. He says, but as the investigation led by Robert Mueller closes in on more Trump associates like Paul Manafort and Michael Flynn, it seems clear that the Russian story is only going to get bigger. Rather than downplay or deny it, the left should embrace it. So that's who this guy is. And the reason why I'm showing you that is because he wrote a stupid hit piece on hashtag forced to vote. Here he is again. Some people want to downplay it, but it's the crime of the century, the heist of the political system, with help from Foreign Intelligence Service, the GOP, an evil institution that deserves to be burned and salted. And if the Russiagate is the form it takes, so be it. So that's all of that was wrong. Everything,
all of that aged very, very well.
Like
a fine wine, all those thoughts really worked out.
Here's another one. Good morning to everyone except the people who've built their entire reputations around denying that the Trump campaign illegally conspired with Russia. I guess that would be Robert Mueller, too, because he said they didn't. Robert Mueller says that no one in the Trump administration or his campaign team conspired with the Russians. That's what Robert Mueller says. Is that, you mean by that guy, him building his career? So that's who this guy is. Here's one more. He goes, slightly hot take. A lot of Russiagate denialism seems based on an implicit assumption that Russians can't understand English, don't follow U.S. politics closely, don't know how to use social media, and have no rational interest in messing with the U.S., and possibly they don't exist. So that's who this guy is. He's a nut.
By slightly hot take, he means a contrarian viewpoint that I made up and will now argue against.
Yes, that's right. A straw man, as if you will.
Yep.
So here he is today talking about, this is what, December 22nd, talking about hashtag Me Too in the guise of this. He says the last 5 years saw Bernie's two credible runs for president in the parallel closely tied the rise of the left media ecosystem. AOC is ideally positioned to be Bernie's heir. Can I just say that kind of talking, that kind of shit, that sounds like what Hillary Clinton would say. And the reason I say that is because I don't know if you can see down here. It says Clinton chastises Hillary for failure to produce male heir. That's that news story. Clinton chastises Hillary for failure to produce male heir. That's what that says. And that's what this guy sounds like. He sounds like a real Hillary. That's his mentality.
It almost sounds a little culty, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Like she was the heir. She's the chosen one.
That's right. That's right. And we're supposed to fall in line. There's a way this works. There's a succession, Jimmy Dore. Don't you know
Do
that?
not make demands of the chosen one.
So he says AOC is ideally positioned to be Bernie's heir, the leader of the left electoral project. I didn't know there was a left Did you know there was a... Anyway, but I
thought it was banned.
I thought that was banned. But parts of the left media ecosystem are now rejecting that project. So translation on that. Don't expect anything from AOC or the squad in case she might run for president. Try telling, that's what he's saying. Don't expect, hey, don't reject this because she might run for president. She's Bernie's heir. She's positioned to be our first, Bernie, president, AOC, what are you doing? That's what he's saying. And so now Jagoff Jimmy Dore is coming. He's going to fucking mess that up. That's what Cenk Uygur said. Jimmy made a mess by making everyone realize that the squad has power. And that's what he's trying to say. Oh, this goddamn Jimmy Dore. AOC isn't going to do anything, but she might run for president. Hey, can I just tell you this, David Cleon, whatever your name is? Try telling that to someone dying due to lack of health care. Know that your death isn't in vain. AOC might run for president someday, or she might not, but maybe. What? Yeah, he's like, it was AOC who said that if I'm a one-term congresswoman, that's fine. She was the one who said that. And let me just show you this. A Democratic manifesto says the squad is a media creation. Its job is to work within the power structure and to make the rotten core more palatable. Time-tested strategy of power to disempower citizens by making superheroes out of a few and concentrate power in their hands, never letting power into people's hands. Would you agree with that, Ron?
Yeah, I would agree with that sentiment completely. I mean, if there's one thing we should have learned, especially during this pandemic, when it's become painfully apparent that our government is nothing more than a corporate coup, you should not put any politicians on a pedestal. They're basically guilty until proven guilty. And we should make demands of them, like force the vote.
He says, I have not, to be clear, though I understand the despair. But that's what's really going on with this Dore Medicare for All debate, the specifics of which are ludicrous. Ron, you know what's ludicrous? The specific ludicrous is that they have leverage and they should use it. So it's ludicrous for progressives to ever flex their power. It's ludicrous for progressives to ever exercise their leverage. It's ludicrous for progressives to ever fight when they obviously have the power to do so. This is what the left has become. Do you see what the left has become? These feckless wimps who will never fight for anything. That's what David Cleon wants us to be, because that's what he is. It's ludicrous for us to actually do this thing that everyone knows can happen, which is why they sent out a tool like this to try to write an article like this to kill it. A Russiagator and a conspiracy theorist. A McCarthy smearer. That's who he is. That's the guy they chose to write this. Of course it is. So he says it's ludicrous. This hashtag force to vote is ludicrous. I guess that makes Dylan Radigan ludicrous, Breonna Joy Gray ludicrous. I guess that makes Cornel West ludicrous, because they all agree that it's a great idea.
I think his reason to not do it is pretty ludicrous. I mean, let's just say hypothetically AOC would run for president in 2024. Would this moment be what made or break, like made that or didn't make that? Like, well, remember when she did or didn't try to force the vote? That's everything. like it's such a ridiculous excuse. Like, we can't try to get people health care because AOC may run for president someday.
That's what he's saying.
Say that sentence out loud and hear how ridiculous you sound.
It doesn't matter how ridiculous they sound. He's going to continue to get a check by establishment media. That's why he's a Russiagator. That's why he's a McCarthy smearer. And that's why he's doing this. He's saying that this obvious thing, this is politics 101, he's saying is ludicrous. I don't even know what. There's people who want health care and people who think we should treat elected officials like they're comic book heroes. We need AOC to lead the electoralism justice league. That's what he sounds like.
She's the hair.
This is about two very different sides of Bernie's legacy coming into clearer focus. I'm no expert, but I think what's really going on is that people want Medicare for all. I think that's it, David. People want Medicare for all. That's it. It's really not that complicated. Ah, yes, the two sides of the Bernie legacy. The side that wants Medicare for all and the side that doesn't. God, how could this be so divisive? That's exactly right. The two sides of a Bernie's, one side wants Medicare for all, one side doesn't. Cenk Uygur doesn't want it, and he wants to distract you with everything in the world, including a high-pressure money-squeezing campaign out of his own audience right now. He's squeezing money in the middle of a depression out of his own audience. That's what Cenk Uygur. He's in bed with guys like this. Legacy, Bernie's heir. This guy subconsciously speaks the language of a trust fund kid. Exactly. Exactly. I like what Professor Zenka says. He says, you have health care. Millions do not. It's a simple equation. People don't care about heir apparent. They want to have a doctor to go to in the middle of a pandemic, asshole. I shouldn't say that. We're running out of time. We don't care about anyone's career trajectory or legacy. We need decisive, comprehensive action now. So that's where it is. Hey, everybody, this is the part where I tell you where all our live shows are, but there aren't any. And then this is why I tell you to join our premium program and get extra content, but nobody's got a fucking job. So just enjoy the video.